Hello everyone, my name is Daniel, and in my work life I run a web shop based in Denmark that's called ellers. We sell a lot of both fly fishing and fly fishing gear, and of course I tie a lot of flies. I also have my own YouTube channel with a lot of things, fly fishing related stuff that's called ellers. Today we're gonna tie a salmon and sea trout fly. This is a tube fly, which means that basically it's tied on a tube and you have to attach the hook afterwards with a swing tube or whatever, so you can change the hook. And also if the hook for some reason gets damaged by snagging in the bottom or hitting a rock in your back cast or whatever, you can basically just change the hook and the fly will still work perfectly. So that's one of the advantages of tying on tubes. And of course you also have the opportunity to change a lot of different hook styles and stuff depending on exactly what you want to do. So tube flies are really nice, and the Pro tube fly system is one of my favorite ones because it's very diverse, it's very versatile. There's a lot of different options to customizing and making the fly exactly have the right weight or have the right front disc or whatever you want. It's a really thought through system. The tubes are sturdy and works really well. So overall the Pro system is one of the go-to systems that I use the most, and that's also the one we're going to use today. So the first thing we're going to attach is of course the tube, and for this I have these Pro nano tubes, which basically are a clear tube that has a small raised up part here that actually makes sure that when you attach your different types of weights, then they stay in place. We're going to use a Pro flexi bead on this one. This is my favorite type of weight for my tube flies because this is 5.2 millimeters, so it has the right weight to make the fly fish at the exact moment when it hits the water. And for my salmon fishing and sea trout fishing, this is the bead that I use the most. The color here is Gunsmoke. Oh, and of course perhaps we should mention what the fly is called. This is basically a flashwing salmon fly. The idea here is the color scheme is based around the Pahtakorva color scheme, so it's a brownish orange flashy thing here. It's just a lot more flashy and a lot more shiny than the original Pahtakorva. And I've taking a lot of things out of it to basically make it as simple as possible. So this is a fly that fishes really well. It's fairly easy to tie, and there's not too many components. And every single component in here has been added to give it some specific way of moving in the water. So we've attached the bead here, the flexi bead, to give the weight to the fly, making it a fly that, as I said, fishes the instant it hits the water. And we're going to attach the thread, and then we start out by adding the flash. So this fly is as I said, a flashwing fly, which means it's a really sparkly, really shiny one. And in particular, the flash I'm going to use here is some mirror flash, which are some of the most sparkly flash you can get out there. This is a fly that is intended to either fish for really fresh fish early in the season, where they basically will strike anything, or to fish in really high water conditions or really murky waters. That's also why we use this flash. The first one here I'm going to attach is an orange mirror flash from Headrun. There we go. And basically I'm just going to tie this down, so it's a bit long, but I make sure that the ends here are not completely even in length to make sure. Oops, these are a bit slippery, so we need to probably use a bit more strength and also tying thread to get it down there. There we go. But then I'm gonna, as you saw, I only took a relatively small bundle because I'm gonna turn this over. So basically I'm gonna cut this in different lengths, and this way I actually have a bundle of flash here because I took the full length than I have for another fly as well. Just gonna make sure that this stays together with a bit of saliva, and then I put this off to the side because then I would actually have to tie a second fly. Then I turn this over and tie this down. Also, this makes sure that the flash really it pops a bit more out, and also the bead here helps to lift the wing here up into the water column, but also the the way I tied this makes the fly a lot more durable because the flash is double secured, and also makes the wing pop a bit more up into the water when the fly swings across the stream. Then we're going to need a hackle. And for this I'm going to use black laced whiting hackles because I just adore the colors of these. You can use a burnt orange or an orange or a grizzly orange or whatever, as long as the color scheme is orange-like, to keep the color scheme of the Pahtakorva. I'm gonna pull off all the fluff. But I mean, if you haven't seen these black laced things from whiting, then I urge you to check them out, because the effect of these are just magnificent, and you know, the color markings on these and the effect it has on the fly is just awesome. And you can get these in all sorts of colors, yellow, you know, every single color you can think of. You can get one of these. They're a bit difficult to get your hands on. I mean, sometimes whiting does not produce that many of them, so if you see a color that you like, and I have a big selection at Nordic English, then you should definitely buy one while they're in stock, because I mean, this is not something that is you're able to get every single day. It's not. It's as with all whiting products, it's as long as stock lasts. Basically, that was the hackle here. There we go. You see how the orange ends there? It just looks really nice. I like a lot. Then we're gonna add some rubber legs, and I'm gonna use orange ones. But I mean, you could go a different color scheme. These orange striations, or orange with olive one would be nice as well. But the orange one here is nice for this, because this is basically a fly, you know, designed for fishing high water. The way I attach these, the easiest way to attach these is basically to take them and then put them around the thread, because then you can completely control exactly where you want to place this. So I just pull them up on the side and then place them, and there we go. They are placed exactly where I wanted it to be. There we go. Then we need to tie in the next wing. And the next wing is going to be made from opossum. You can use Arctic fox as well, but I like the opossum because, again, the hairs here have some coarser hairs that makes the fly move a bit differently and stuff. And also, as you can see, there is some different color schemes going on in the hairs here. They're fairly stiff, so they're good for hard currents as well. But they're not very long, these opossum hairs, so for a really big fly, these are not the ideal choice. But for a fly like this, where basically the second wing is basically just gonna support the final flash wing, then this is perfect. They're also really excellent for big songer flies and stuff, the opossum. You can see nice color as well. I'm going to take this and then I'm going to tie it on top, in between the legs. Yeah, that takes a bit of practice and a bit of maneuvering to get everything in place. And because these opossum are relatively, oh shit, one of the legs just got, but you can luckily just pull it back into place. There we go. As you can see, I'm leaving the orange legs to point forward for most of this, because we want a bit of distance between the front legs and the back legs in order to make them stand out and move differently in the water, move in their own right in the water. These flash flies is something that has really gained a lot of traction and a lot of attention, in particular here in Denmark, these past couple of years. I used some of these. I made one as well that's called Thunder and Flash, which is basically the thunder and lightning theme, but with a flash wing instead. That has been producing really well for me this year. Got a few salmon and sea trouts on that one, and that looks amazing in the water as well. So I really like the idea of this flash here. They are very blingy, and you can definitely see them out in the water. But on days where conditions are hot and you know, water levels are high and the water is murky, then these are just out fishing anything else. So I would definitely urge you to tie up a few flash wings. Just maybe you could convert some of your own favorite patterns into a flash wing, and then use these because they are really a nice addition to any fly box. And just tie, you know, a few, one or two, and have in there to one of those days where condition seems to be difficult, and who knows, maybe those are going to be the ones that save the day. They have for me, I know, at least. So then I'm going to turn my black hackle. Gonna make one of two turns in between the legs here. I'm gonna try to turn the last two turns in front of the legs. When I'm being silent, it's because it takes a bit of concentration to get this right. Because we need to get this right in order for this to look awesome. Look as cool as this fly really can be. See, one of the legs is detoured a bit. We're basically just gonna pull it back to where it should be. We're gonna fold everything back here, really hold tight onto that, and then tie on top of it, making sure that everything stays in place. There we go. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm gonna take a final bundle of flash, just a small one, to finish off the fly here. Oh, we should, maybe we can use the piece that I left here, but then we should not double it, we should just use this. Oh, it's a bit wet. Okay, there we go. And don't. It's easier to tie it too long, and then afterwards tie it shorter, to cut them shorter to make sure you have the right length, than it is to get it exactly right at the first go. So, cutting off the flash here. Applying a lot of pressure to make sure everything is where I want it to be. And as you can see now, the wing of the opossum, the fairy brown opossum, is inside the flash wing here. And it makes the flash wing pop a bit more out and lift the flash wing into the current, and then try to trim all of this so it's not completely uniform in length. It will move a lot in the water in its own right, like that. And then we're gonna add the finishing touches, which is a jungle cock on each side, and then finish it off with a disc, a pro subsonic disc, to make this push even more water and move even more erratic in the water, and really make the flash wing sparkle and glitter and move. I'm gonna add one of these pro jungle cocks in. I think this is a size X small. Oh, it's probably a bit smaller. Maybe it's an XX small. I've forgotten the label, but the two sizes I use the most are the X small and the XX small. So there we have added the jungle cock. Apply a bit more of tying thread. And then all there's left to do is do the wig finish. and add the disc. Cut away the tying thread. Then I'm going to apply a bit of Sabagat. This will also ensure that your fly is strong and sturdy. Then I'm taking the, whoa, that one almost got away from me. A 7mm Pro subsonic disc in orange. And then we're gonna trim the rubber legs down. So one of them is gonna be shorter than the other one. To make them move differently in the water. Now that was a bit too much saliva, but there we go. The Pro Flashwing Pahtakorva variant. Oh, I cut one of the rubber legs a bit short, but nah, that's okay. It will work. There we go. And this will really produce a lot of noise in the water. It will move a lot of water with the disc, and the disc and the wings and the bead will keep the wing up, and the current really make it move insane in the water. So as soon as you drop this in the water, you will see what this is all about, because this looks absolutely amazing out there where it counts in the current. So basically that's it. The Pro Flashwing Pahtakorva variant, or very easy name to remember.